One of the hardest parts about doing an acrylic set of nails is the acrylic application. You cry, at least that's my personal experience. But I have learned a lot of things along the years that I've been doing nails, almost 10 next year in 2024. But these are a lot of the things that really helped me get better. There's also some things that you'll learn that did not help me get better. So go ahead and watch the video to learn tips and tricks of acrylic application.
Okay, so for the first step, we are going to be applying the primer, and you're going to want to apply the primer 2 times. Make sure that you're really touching every part of the nail with this primer and don't oversaturate it. Make sure you get enough product at the same time and don't touch the skin if possible. For the second part, you're going to want to pick up your first bead, mix your gluten powder. I did this off camera, but I can get into better detail in a different video. But the more important thing is to pick up your bead, and you're going to want to place it 3/4 of the way down on the nail, so you are not putting it near the acrylic or near the cuticle, but you're putting it somewhere pretty close because you are going to add a second bead on top of this bead right here. So for the fourth step, we're going to apply the second bead on top, and we are feathering it down, and we are pushing up the product where there is some crevices that needed the product. We are applying a little bit more because that other bead was a little wet, too wet for my liking, where it is actually messing up my application, but we'll get into that a little bit more. So we're going to want to repeat this on all the nails. In order to get really good at the acrylic application, you really have to practice your acrylic to powder ratio. The best room temperature for your acrylic is 74 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. This is actually really important for your acrylic application. Now, if the temperature in the room is too cold, you're going to end up with some really runny beads, which I have a problem with sometimes. But if you can see here, liquid to powder ratio, you can actually screenshot this if you need to, but you can see what the beads should look like. So like I was saying, for me, if the room is too cold, my air in my house is so weird that it's hard to control. I hate it so much when it comes to doing nails. But because it's so cold, sometimes I can't manipulate the beads like I want to. But if it's too hot, then your product is drying a lot quicker and you're not going to be able to manipulate it like you want and mold it around. So please keep in mind the room temperature. So this is the one that I use. This is the liquid from Young Nails. I love this liquid, and I also use their powder. If you guys are always following me, you guys know that this is my number one company. All right, so some do's and don'ts with acrylic application. Let's get started and do the do's. So your first do: always test your first bead. Second, work carefully around the skin. And the last thing is always clean your brush in between each bead. Okay, let's do some don'ts. Number 1, don't touch the natural nail after the primer is applied. Number 2, don't forget to adjust the room temperature. And number 3, do not rush the process. Question of the day: how comfortable are you with acrylic application at this very moment? Let me know in the comments. Do you feel like you're getting it? Do you feel like it's really frustrating, or do you feel like you know you can master this? It's just gonna take some time. Let me know. All in all, acrylic application is something that you need to do with a lot of patience and practice. You cannot get good at any type of skill if you do not practice. Try to practice daily. Try to practice as much as possible, even if it's not daily, at least weekly. And you'll see a big difference if you really dedicate extra time into this. Everything is not supposed to be easy, so if you really want to learn this, I'm telling you, envision it in your head. You can learn to do this. We all start somewhere, and this is not something from another world. This is something that you can easily attain this skill.
Got through that video, so now I know you have a better understanding of acrylic application, and I'm pretty sure you got some tips and tricks that will stay with you. So let's move on to the very last part and the very last video of the series, which is the finish filing. So I hope this series has made it easier for you to understand, because I did break it down in the most simplest way. But go ahead and check out the very last video. You're almost there.